Hello everyone, namaste. How are you guys feeling? Please let me know on the comments where are you from, where are you watching my videos from, and how are you feeling? I would like to hear about you and from you. I was contemplating about what subject I would like to talk about. So, as some of you might know, I am in North America, in Canada. First, before I start, let's just set the tone. I'm not going to burn any Palo Santos because it's nighttime, it's kind of chilly, and all the windows are closed. So I usually burn sage and Palo Santo when I can actually open the windows and air it out. So we're just going to use the blessed water. This is a mixture of water and Himalayan salt and lavender. Is really refreshing, and it's fantastic for bringing back your attention to your body and sort of grounding you. The famous oil that I use, I use that. Again, I love the scents that are in this oil, geranium and rosemary. It sort of wakes up your senses. It's fantastic if you are dealing with anxiety or depression to sort of calm your nervous system down. I just try to relax myself and clear the energies. I'm big on clearing my auras, clearing my energies, and I really think on a daily basis we need to do that. Connecting with the energies of the heart, opening the third eye, so we can see beyond this illusory world of ours that can really entrap us and enslave us in a way to run after materialism and money at all times and never being satisfied. So we recognize the sacredness of our own heart, of our own souls, and the soul of the humanity. And we acknowledge that in truth, we are all one. Everything is one. Namaste. Namaste and many blessings. I invite you to be kind to yourself and others at all times. So, I was contemplating about, cheers, about the subject that I would like to talk about. And nothing pops up more than talking about addiction. Addiction is rampant in our world, particularly here where I live, in all over North America, especially in bigger cities and even in the small cities. We have lost many many people due to a very toxic drug called fentanyl. And that was, I really believe that's an emergency. It's a real epidemic in North America. And many people lost their loved ones, and may their soul be in peace. Some moments of silence, respect to all the departed souls. So, the loss of lives in the past 3 and 4 years due to drug poisoning was absolutely astronomical. That if you combine, let's say, all the soldiers that they died, North American soldiers that they died during the Vietnam War, Iraq War, and Afghanistan combined, would the people that we lost due to fentanyl, their number would absolutely exceed that in 1 year. This is at least what I've heard. It's absolutely astronomical how many people we have lost, and this is devastating. And it's not just affecting the lives of those that they are passed on, it's affecting the lives of the families and how these families are functioning. And unfortunately, our governments, they don't give a damn. So it's about time for people to start seeing addiction from a different light. That addiction truly is a mental illness, that it can affect anybody. So don't judge. Don't judge people who are struggling with addiction, because it's something that it can knock at anybody's door. Anybody's door. So again, I invite you to have compassion in the space for yourself and others. Many people, unfortunately, believe that addiction is a choice, and it's not. Just like nobody chooses to have cancer, nobody chooses to have depression, nobody wakes up in the morning and goes like, it would be nice if I would have some sort of like massive level of anxiety today. Nobody says that, and as a matter of fact, if somebody talks like that, everybody starts laughing. So addiction is the same. Nobody wakes up in the morning and think like, oh, today I'm going to become addicted to a substance and I'm going to wreck my life and I'm going to eventually kill myself. Nobody wakes up like that and chooses to do that. Nobody. So please, please stop saying that. So addiction on its own, in my opinion, is a way to self-soothe. Either looking for pleasure. Why they're looking for pleasure? Because simply in their lives, there's no pleasure. They don't have any zest of life. Nothing is pleasurable. So just to feel a little bit of pleasure, people go after addictions. It's also escape from pain, from sorrow, from physical and emotional pain. Even back then in a day, during the traditional medicine in Middle East, physicians would use opium as a very effective painkiller when they were doing their surgeries, or they would prescribe it to somebody who was suffering from a lot of, physical pain. Of course, temporarily, and they would have to stop. So the reason people tend, or they get gravitated towards these substances, is simply because they're in pain. So we need to have compassion for that. I've had this sort of a discussion with somebody, and she was saying, oh, I went to the hospital and I had a surgery and they put me on morphine or fentanyl or whatever, a really strong painkiller, and I never became addicted. So there's something wrong with these people who become addicted. So in a way, she was shaming. She was putting herself on a pedestal up there, so she was better than those who get addicted to these medications. So people, let's just not compare ourselves to somebody who is struggling with mental health. Just like when somebody is sick, like let's say you go to an environment that is infested with microbes and viruses, okay? 2 of you can go there and only 1 of you gets sick. Somehow that person is predisposed to get sick. Do you go like, oh, it's, I'm so much better than you, like I just went in there and I didn't get sick and you got sick, so shame on you, right? We are different. We have different struggles. Some of us are dealing with more pain, and sometimes we never had the proper support system from our childhood on how to deal with our pain. So addiction sometimes is the only refuge, any painkiller. And addiction is not always to drugs. So that's another misconception, that people think addiction is always to drugs and alcohol. Addiction can be to alcohol, addiction can be to drugs, addiction is to cigarette. Addiction can be to work. Some people are just overworking themselves to death because they are trying to numb out, they are trying to escape an internal turmoil, emotional pain, or sometimes even physical pain. Some people are addicted to working out excessively and they damage their body with these working out. Some people are addicted to constantly doing plastic surgery on their face till they completely deform their physical bodies and their face, and they look really unnatural. So even if we see that, even if we see an underlying mental illness, it's never okay for us to shame that and threw that into their face. Oh, you have mental health issues and I'm better than you. Because let me tell you one thing, majority of the humanity right now is suffering from some form of mental illness. So please don't judge what your fellow human beings are going through. The conditions that many people are living in from their childhood is not optimal. It's not optimal. So, and now adding the inflation, financial hardships, wars that are just going everywhere, displacement of people, immigrations, all these can cause serious mental health issues in people. And there's no shame in that. Shame is upon those people that they create wars, they create plastic inflations, they create famine. Sometimes people, out of desperations, they take refuge into addiction and escapism. Some people can become shopaholics. Some people might constantly want to eat. I've seen many young people out there in the streets with a bag of chips, and mindlessly they're constantly going, as if they're trying to distract themselves from something, and they're overeating, right? Eating can nourish you, and eating can also destroy you, and it can become an addiction on its own. So addiction is not genetics. That is also something that we need to really understand, even though that some sort of traits and characteristics can be passed on through genes that make somebody more susceptible to addictions, like people that are more sensitive, people that they have artistic tendencies, like they're into art and writing, consequently they're more sensitive, they feel things and they sense things more strongly. People that they have more passion sometimes can also get hurt more than other people. Or people that are extremely intelligent, the average person is not capable of understanding them, so they are ostracized, misunderstood on a regular basis. So a lot of these people are dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder and complex post-traumatic stress disorders, extreme anxieties and depressions. And unfortunately, our healthcare system, at least in Canada, is not the best. It's not fully available, and the component of compassion and care has been extracted out of it. In other words, it's very, very difficult to find compassion and care in our system, generally speaking. I'm not talking about beautiful individuals that are saving lives. I'm talking about the system as a whole. Like one of the things that happens in Canada, for instance, if somebody is suicidal and they call for help, they send the police instead of sending the ambulance or perhaps sending the social workers. So the police comes, they threw this person in the back of the police car, isolated. The police is not trained to deal with these people. And they take them directly to the hospital. But think about it. From the moment that the police arrives till this person gets to the hospital and deal with somebody who is trained, and they have to wait a long time in the waiting area, by the time that the professionals, they get to this person to ask questions and sort of calm this person down and support them, think about it. From that moment that the police arrives to the moment that this person is going to the hospitals and is being seen by the mental health professionals, what this person goes through the back of the police car while they're suicidal. It's not a right thing to do. It's not a right way to deal with people who are suffering from mental illness. So a lot of these people, addiction is much easier. They self-medicate and they're immediately soothe. But of course, this can eventually lead to more problems and death, unfortunately. And their whole life gets destroyed because when somebody is using drugs, they can barely function. We do have some high functioning people who are struggling also with addictions, but in some shape or form, the addiction is strongly affecting people's lives on so many different levels, and it's rampant, it's everywhere. So number one, we need to realize that it's a mental health issue. It's not a choice. And a person who is struggling with addiction needs support and needs connection. So please try not to turn your back on them. They need your support. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to support a person who is dealing with addictions because they're not in the right framework, especially if there are drugs involved. Because there can be aggression, there can be self-harm. Well, addiction is a form of self-harm, is a self-sabotaging behavior in a way. So when you're dealing with somebody who is struggling with addiction, get help. You also need help. You also need support to be able to support your loved one. It's something that you cannot tackle alone. I don't care, even if you are a Hercules, you can't. It's a very tough journey. So you need support. You yourself need mental health support. So ask for support as much as you can and be kind to yourself and the person who's struggling with addiction. And you also need to protect yourself. And I'm very careful not to call them addicts because that, in my opinion, it's stigmatizing the addiction even further. So I don't want to label them. So I want to acknowledge their personhood. They are a person with a soul and psyche and heart who is struggling or dealing with addiction. So they're not addicts. Just like we don't call somebody who's struggling with mental health a mental person, unless if you want to offend them, which is really ugly. We should really be mindful of what kind of language we use. Because I'm saying this is something that can knock on anybody's door. Anybody. So be kind, people. Be very kind. So you yourself, if you have a loved one who is struggling with addiction, you need help yourself. Self-compassion, external help, mental health professionals, support, counselors, healers, whatever, whoever can support you in a right way, go for it. You need to take care of your physical body also. Make sure you eat properly, which is really difficult when we are entrapped within the conflict of addiction. Self-care, self-compassion is really important. The more you have self-compassion towards yourself, the more you can empathize and show compassion towards other people. So hold a safe space for yourself. Drink organic, healthy beverages that are sugar-free. And how many people are addicted to sugar? Majority of us, right? And coming off even from sugar, off sugar, is not easy, let alone strong drugs. So some form of addictions, for instance, they are more accepted or justified, such as overworking, workaholism. How many people proudly say, oh, I work all day, I'm a busy person, I work all week, I do overtime, I work 24/7, I barely have any time to sleep. I understand some people need to do that because of financial problems, especially right now. So that's different. But some people use work to escape from their pain. And that's very destructive because it becomes a habit and it destroys themselves and their family. So yeah, this is a very heavy topic. So I'm gonna stop right here talking about addiction at this point because I'm recognizing that it's just even too heavy on my body. But these topics should be talked about. The society needs to be educated because we can help each other during this crisis and chaos. We can hold a safe space for ourselves and our fellow human beings. And we need to stop shaming. We need to stop shaming people who are struggling with addiction. Cigarette smoke is also another form of addiction, and I am extremely allergic to the smoke. It drives me crazy. So it's like, imagine me being in a vicinity of somebody who's smoking. My own health issues start like exacerbating. And then the person who's smoking is also having, smoking is a mental health issue. Not to shame the smokers, but it is. Because it's a behavior that it's damaging to the self, to the body. It's a behavior that is hurting others, but it's somehow calming the person. So a lot of people, when they're stressed out, they reach out to the smoke. Even the act of smoking calms them down. So it's a form of addictive behavior that it's self-soothing and it calms the emotional pain for the time being, but later it truly adds to issues and problems. So let's take a deep breath. Inhalation, holding the breath, and exhalation. Inviting kindness and peace into our space. Setting forward the intentions of prosperity, health, and love. We all need love more than anything else. Somebody once told me opioids, smoking or using opioids resemble love. So a lot of people that have been deprived from love by using either smoking or ingesting opioids, they feel love, at least momentarily. And then that's also part of the psychological addictions to these drugs. We acknowledge the commonality of our humanity in this present moment. And sending love to all that need it. Sending love and healing and peace to all that are struggling right now in this moment. May you be at peace. May you be calm. May you be taken care of. May you flourish. May you rise up. And you can rise up, people. Imagine if we had a world that we would all support one another. We would all listen to one another. We were able to put ourselves in each other's shoes and feel each other's pain and walk with one another, regardless of our skin color, regardless of our religional, I just invented the word, religious belief system, regardless of our nationality and ethnicities, because it really doesn't matter. They're just borders. They're just belief systems. The truth of the matter is, you and I have a heart in our chest. You and I, we have a soul. And eyes are the windows of our souls. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it truly is. If you want to see somebody's soul, look into their eyes. And see yourself through their eyes as well. That one of the ways to see our oneness is to gaze into somebody's beautiful eyes. And everybody's eyes is beautiful. Believe me. The truth of everybody is beautiful. And this world, ourselves, humanity, the pain of the humanity, the sorrows, the traumas of humanity changes us. So in order for us to change this world is to heal, individual healing, kindness towards the self, self-compassion towards the self. Namaste, loves. Sending you all the best. Remember, I want to hear about you. Remember, I want to hear about your struggles. And maybe we can create a community that we can support one another. We can be there for one another. Send love and gratitude towards humanity. I bow to the light and dark within you, and I truly wish you healing, wealth, and prosperity. Namaste. Thank you.